Did anyone ever say to me, Helen, please come forward? No one will put a red carpet out for any of us. You got to knock those doors down.
She was talking to us, not above us.
That was a very good speech. What can we do to make you Secretary General?
There have been 8 men over these last 70 years, and there's never been a woman.
My Year with Helen, the documentary that followed Helen Clark's campaign to become UN Secretary General, is showing in cinemas all over the world. So Jessica Much caught up with Helen Clark and director Gayleen Preston this week. She started by asking Gayleen why she wanted to do the film.
I wanted to know how change worked on a global level. You know, how do you make the world a better place, really? It didn't seem to be getting any better at the time, but Helen was pretty chirpy, so I thought, I'll ask Helen.
How did you approach it?
So we sort of knew one another, but we don't really know one another that well socially. We'd run into one another on the edge of parties, really, when you were PM.
I think we're both in a situation where everyone feels they know me and everyone feels they know Gayleen. So of course we felt we knew each other. And I was Minister of Arts and Culture all those years as well, so I was very close to people in the film sector. So of course we'd we knew each other. And then Gayleen approached me and said she had this idea, and I thought this is dangerous, but the idea led to where we are today with the film.
Because why did you agree to it? It's opening up quite a personal part of your life.
Well, firstly, Gayleen's proposal was that I seemed to be doing some interesting things in a world that had a lot of issues and challenges, and maybe we could focus on how you bring about change. That was the original proposition. But of course, when I declared for the Secretary General contest, it became a different film, but still in a way about how you change international systems. And I felt, of course, the film must go on. And in retrospect, also, and at the time, because New Zealand was so behind the campaign, the government was behind the campaign, the Kiwi taxpayer funded it, I think there's an obligation to tell that story. It didn't end in success, but people took a lot of pride in it. So the film kind of brings out a lot of issues that I think New Zealanders are pretty interested in.
Did we get to see the real Helen Clark in this film?
Well, she's sitting here.
Who is she?
But I ask the question because I feel like a lot of New Zealanders will feel like they know you, like you said before. Do you think we saw a different layer to her? And I ask Gayleen this question because you were the observer in this.
Yeah, I mean, you do a lot of interviews. So when we were with you, on one hand, we kind of wanted an update on how things were, but we didn't want an interview exactly. So we would just set up the camera in a slightly different situation. I would sometimes sit over there. I don't know, I just tried all sorts of ways to see if we could make it more like a conversation.
Was that really hard to front up to the cameras? How long did it take you to say, okay, right, I'm ready to do this now?
Well, firstly, from the very first ballots, it was pretty clear where this was likely to go. And so the real decision was in early August, whether to stay in or not, even though it looked very, very challenging. And being a bloody-minded person, I decided I would stay in. And the New Zealand government backed that and kept campaigning hard, because I felt that if I pull out, what signal does that send to women? Clearly I could have done that job. I'd been a Prime Minister, I think a reasonably successful one, for 9 years. I'd been in effect number 3 in the UN system. If I couldn't be taken seriously as a candidate, what woman ever could be taken seriously? And there were other serious women candidates as well who could have done the job. So by and large, the women stuck in. I think there were 2 withdrawals, but the other women candidates all stuck in to the end, really to make a point that we're serious candidates.